Transmigrating into the world of Journey to the West, you desire to become the senior disciple of Sun Wukong, so you arrive ahead of time to apprentice under Patriarch Subhuti. Yet, unexpectedly, after 100 years of cultivation, you remain a mere mortal stuck at the chi refining stage. Even a dog that cultivated alongside you has long since ascended to the ranks of the immortals. However, Sun Wukong alone knows the truth. Just how terrifying is the useless senior disciple that is you. Not only do you possess foresight of the future, but you can also effortlessly create supreme sacred techniques on a whim. Even the legendary immortal fruits and divine treasures you possess in numbers beyond counting. Just as the monkey is brimming with self-satisfaction, eager to cling to your powerful influence, he discovers through the diary you keep all the conspiracies and karmic plots orchestrated by the Buddhist sect against him. You have a daily habit of writing in a diary, because a system rewards you based on your entries. It randomly grants you laws, exotic items, cultivation manuals, worldly origins, and chaotic spiritual treasures. However, what you did not anticipate is that the monkey possesses a copy of your diary. Whatever you record in your journal, he sees in his copy. Today, upon learning that the new disciple who just joined the sect is none other than the future Sun Wukong, who will wreak havoc in the heavenly palace, you hurriedly return to your quarters to focus on the diary in your hands. Yesterday, you merely scribbled a single line in your diary and instantly ascended to the rank of heavenly immortal. If you were to write steadily throughout the entire night, would that not lead directly to becoming a saint? With such immense temptation laid before you, never mind that a Sun Wukong stands before you. Even if the Tao ancestor Hongjun himself were present, you would pay him no heed. You pick up your brush and slowly begin to write. The protagonist of the Journey to the West tribulation, Sun Wukong, has arrived to seek apprenticeship. This monkey likely cannot imagine that the mass, immortal fortune he believes he has found is, in fact, the beginning of his entrapment by the Buddhist sect. As you write, you cannot help but shake your head and sigh. The poor creature. He is clearly a Lingming stone monkey, one of the 4 monkeys of destruction, bearing the remnants of merit from the mending of the heavens, yet he is destined to be manipulated for his entire life. His innate divine abilities were likely sealed away by the Buddhist sect long ago. One must realize that the Lingming stone monkey is a master of transformation, knowing the heavens and the earth, capable of shifting the stars and altering the moon. Looking back at the entirety of Sun Wukong's life, it seems he never once displayed these true capabilities. If he did not possess such power, he would hardly be worthy of the name Lingming Stone Monkey. Shaking his head, he continued to write. The monkey's origin is linked to the stone that mended the heavens. Why bother mingling with the Buddhist sect? Would it not be far more auspicious to enlist directly under the goddess Nukawa to mend the heavens? Alas, this was an opportunity that existed only before he entered the Lingtai Fangkun mountain. Now that he has already entered, I suspect Patriarch Subhuti will not let him go so easily. The flawed, great prime heavenly immortal art is in his hands, and he is determined to force the monkey to study it. If he does not study it, how could they suppress the monkey's cultivation? How else could they reduce him to a mere pawn of the Buddhist sect? How else could he be forced to sacrifice his life and contribute his karmic merit to the Buddhist sect? At that moment, the diary suddenly erupted with a brilliant radiance. Before long, a golden immortal Tao fruit and a supreme innate defensive treasure, the Xiangkun cauldron, fell out from within the pages. Just as you were holding the golden immortal Dao fruit in sheer delight, Sun Wukong, elsewhere, was reading the contents of the diary. The monkey was not feeling particularly well. Is this truly the truth? But why does this old son feel that something about this is deceitful? He waved his hand, casting the diary aside, but with a flash of light, it returned to his side once more. Sun Wukong let out a cold laugh. Very well, if you wish to follow me, then stay. Meanwhile, you, having just advanced to the golden immortal realm, felt even more exhilarated. Unable to wait any longer, you picked up your pen to continue writing in the diary. Sun Wukong was struck 3 times on the head by Patriarch Subhuti, and in the dead of night, he went to seek the Patriarch for enlightenment, where he was taught the great prime heavenly immortal art and the 72 earthly transformations. In truth, the 72 transformations are useless to the monkey. Conversely, the 36 heavenly transformations would have been far more practical. After finishing, your eyes shone bright as you stared intently at the diary. You saw a purple light flash across the pages, and as new lines of text appeared, it was revealed that the diary's owner had completed another entry, receiving the reward. The Mythical World Foundation Cultivation Method. The Mythical World Foundation Cultivation Method leads directly to the realm of a mythical heavenly immortal. Even with the diary providing step-by-step guidance, it was impossible to master everything in such a short time. Thus, you had no choice but to record your insights and the cultivation technique, carefully transcribing them into the diary, fearing that any error in memory might lead to deviations on your path to the Tao. On the other side, the monkey returned to his dwelling and saw the diary beginning to glow once more. He scoffed and opened the diary, wanting to see what scheme the other party was hatching now. He then laid eyes upon the Mythical World Foundation cultivation method and the insights you had written down. What manner of technique is this? It sounds remarkably profound. Sun Wukong's aptitude was far from poor. Born with innate divinity and the karmic merit of mending the heavens, he found it easy to manifest a small world dimension within his body almost immediately upon rebirth. This realization sent a wave of shock through Sun Wukong. Could it be that I, old Sun, have finally encountered a fated immortal destiny today? He immediately scanned his surroundings in nervous tension, and upon finding no one watching, he began to study the text with utmost seriousness. As Sun Wukong began to cultivate in earnest, he failed to notice the spiritual energy he had absorbed over countless eons, surging forth from his body, guided bit by his own movements, to merge into his nascent Dao fruit. His cultivation base began to climb incessantly, soaring from that of a mortal monkey with no power at all, straight to the early stage of the golden immortal realm, before it finally slowed to a halt. Shocked, Sun Wukong clenched his fist, instantly shattering the void of space into a jagged rift. He drew a sharp breath, unable to resist glancing back at the meticulous logic behind the Mythical World Foundation cultivation manual you had written. Sun Wukong was so exhilarated he could barely contain himself. He had come to seek the Dakyo for the sole purpose of attaining eternal life, and this supreme technique provided a direct path to the great Datho. The monkey felt as though he were floating on air, when suddenly, his expression shifted. If this cultivation manual is real, then could the future of old Sun described in this diary be true as well? No, I cannot remain here any longer. I must descend the mountain. Now that I possess this method for eternal life, I have no need to stay. With this thought, Sun Wukong tucked the diary into his chest and bolted toward the mountain gate with all his might. In the blink of an eye, Sun Wukong reached the base of the mountain. However, just as he was about to step out of the Lingtai Fengkun mountain, an elder with an ethereal, immortal aura suddenly appeared before him. Wukong, why are you heading down the mountain? Seeing Patriarch Subhuti appear so abruptly, Sun Wukong was so terrified that his fur stood on end. Master, why have you come here? Hearing the stuttering, flustered tone of the monkey, Patriarch Subhuti laughed and scolded. You monkey! Do you dare ask your master why he has come here? Wukong, answer your master. For what reason do you wish to descend the mountain? Weight the aura upon your person, Subhuti. The patriarch reached out and pressed his hand upon Sun Wukong. Excellent. This monkey is truly spiritually gifted. To have cultivated the golden immortal Dao fruit? How swift, truly. It is far too swift. Could this be the providence of the protagonist within this great calamity? Patriarch Subhuti's final words were so soft they were nearly impossible to hear. Yet Sun Wukong, who was cultivating the fundamental laws of this mythological world, heard them clearly, and his heart grew even more unsettled. Patriarch Subhuti was struck with astonishment. The great immortal ascension art in his possession must be imparted to Sun Wukong immediately. Otherwise, the Buddha's machinations regarding Sun Wukong would fall partially into ruin. Should it come to that, suppressing the monkey's cultivation and destroying his foundation would require a price too great to pay to start him anew. Good disciple, your master did not expect that you would attain such great fortune so soon after entering the sect, achieving the golden immortal Dao fruit. I am greatly gratified. Today, this master shall impart to you the true method of cultivation. Sun Wukong was startled, and the hand pressing upon his shoulder felt as immovable as a mountain, which made him all the more clear-headed. But upon recalling the contents of that diary, Sun Wukong regained his resolve and firmly declined the tutelage of this master. Master, after ascending the mountain, this disciple has discovered that he is truly not suited for the Dago. My senior brothers can remain in seated meditation for an entire hour, yet this disciple can only manage a mere quarter of an hour. This disciple feels he is not cut out for the path of cultivation. It would be better to return home and enjoy a life of ease. Please, do not impart any further Taoist techniques to me. Wukong! Patriarch Subhuti shouted, a sound like a thunderclap striking his ears. Sun Wukong's consciousness turned into a void in that instant, and it took a long time before he recovered his senses. The monkey was drenched in a layer of cold sweat, his fur matted together in clumps. He stood obediently before Patriarch Subhuti, no longer daring to play games with this master of great divine power. Master, this disciple wishes to cultivate after all. Upon hearing this, the patriarch was filled with indignation. You monkey, you are fickle and indecisive. One moment you speak of descending the mountain, the next of cultivating the Tao. Originally, this master saw that you possessed superior fortune and providence, and even wished to bestow upon you a method of cultivation. But now it seems your temperament is so poor, it defies description. How could there be a disciple under my tutelage with such a lacking will and temperament? I, your master, shall lend you a hand to seal away this unstable cultivation base within you. First, to temper your state of mind and solidify your foundations, and only then to step upon the path of the Tao once more, to forge a supreme foundation. Having said this, Patriarch Subhuti struck out with 3 consecutive palms, landing them directly upon Sun Wukong's head, striking the monkey until he saw stars, causing his golden immortal cultivation fruit to tremble on the verge of collapse. Patriarch Subhuti gazed at the monkey in astonishment, discovering that his cultivation could not be easily dispelled, so he casually traced a myriad of runic patterns, which transformed into a golden light and surged into Sun Wukong's body. In the blink of an eye, Sun Wukong's golden immortal cultivation vanished, leaving him once again as a mortal monkey. Sun Wukong let out a mournful cry, and Patriarch Subhuti reproached him. "It is for your own good that I do this. From this day forth, you shall chant the Taoist scriptures day and night, polish your temperament, and refine your path of cultivation, and I shall send others to supervise you." With those words, the great master turned and walked away with his hands behind his back. Sun Wukong stared in disbelief at the retreating figure of Patriarch Subhuti, and then he understood. The patriarch had signaled for him to come in the dead of night. Hearing this, the disciples of the 3-star cave, seeing the patriarch had departed, began pointing their fingers at Sun Wukong. "Monkey, come here, come here. Perform a dance for your senior brother, and he will reward you with coin." The fellow disciples in the distance roared with laughter, treating Sun Wukong like a mere performing beast. How could Sun Wukong endure such humiliation? Enraged, he lunged toward them, charging straight at those with the filthiest mouths to strike and claw at them, and both sides immediately descended into a brawl. On the other side, finding your own cultivation progress stagnating, you decided to step out for some fresh air. And as you wandered, you heard the sounds of cursing and fighting up ahead. You were astonished. What place was this? This is the training ground of Patriarch Subhuti. Who would dare cause trouble at his gates? Instinctively looking over, you saw a crowd of people surrounding and beating a lone monkey. You shouted, "Everyone, cease this at once! Did you not hear me say to stop?" The crowd turned their heads, only to see that it was you who had arrived. One fellow disciple, who had just advanced to the heaven immortal realm. Instantly, they all withdrew their gazes. No one bothered to pay attention to you, with some even remarking, "Listen here, little Liu. That monkey needs to be taught a lesson. Do not involve yourself in others' affairs, or else this Taoist will strike you down as well." Hearing this, you grew furious. You waved your hand on the spot, summoning a gale of invisible force from the heavens that swept toward the crowd. In the blink of an eye, everyone was sent reeling and tumbling, each of them carried off into the distance by the wind. Over these past few years, you had indeed endured the mockery of these fellow disciples. However, you knew how to conduct yourself and avoid unnecessary trouble, unlike the monkey. This opportunity was excellent. Under the guise of disciplining your peers, you turned those wretched fools into objects blown about like dried sausages in the wind. Needless to say, your mood was nothing short of exhilarated. Humming a nameless tune, you reclined once more upon the clouds, admiring the ethereal scenery of Fangkun Mountain. While adrift in the clouds, seized by a sudden whim, you pulled out your diary and lifted your brush once again. I have seen the spirit stone monkey once more. That monkey seems to live a truly miserable existence, its head already bloodied. Yet those people still refuse to show mercy. It is no wonder that after the monkey achieves mastery in the Tao, it will return to flaunt its power before these very people. However, Sun Wukong could never have expected that. This very action would provide Patriarch Subhuti with the excuse to directly expel it from the sect, driving it deeper into the calculated schemes of the Buddhist sect. Upon finishing the entry, you watched as the diary pulsed with a rhythmic, luminous glow, signaling that the diary had recognized your latest entry and granted you the reward: a Primordial Enlightenment Tea tree. You clenched your fists tightly. Excellent. This is truly timely. As expected of the mythical diary, even its casual rewards are enough to resolve my most pressing needs. What I currently lack most is enlightenment. Learning the fundamental cultivation methods of this mythical world has been an arduous task. Now, with this enlightenment tea tree, my cultivation speed will surely ascend like a rocket. You could not wait to rush back to your cave dwelling, where you plucked a handful of the most lush, vibrant leaves, steeped them in spiritual spring water, and promptly consumed the brew. A surge of pure, ethereal energy surged directly into your soul. You excitedly focused your mind, and the once impenetrable fundamental cultivation methods of the mythical world suddenly became clear. Looking back at it now, everything felt incredibly simple and easy to comprehend. Furthermore, it was only by basking in your influence that Sun Wukong was. Upon returning, he sought out a secluded area to go into hiding. When the third watch of the night arrived, Sun Wukong quietly rose and went to seek Patriarch Subhuti. In his heart, he sighed. If it were not for the Patriarch's unmistakable hints, he would never have come. He clearly possessed a more profound and powerful cultivation manual. Why must he be forced to practice that defective technique? Yet, he could not afford to refuse. Patriarch Subhuti was far too powerful. If he did not bow his head, what other choice did he have? Upon arriving before the Patriarch's cloud couch, he knelt down in silence, an action immediately sensed by Patriarch Subhuti. Though he intended to open his eyes at once, Patriarch Subhuti chose to keep them closed. On the floor, Sun Wukong remained kneeling for a long time, until his injured body began to sway unsteadily. Only then did the Patriarch on the cloud couch speak. "Wukong, you do not sleep in the dead of night. Why do you come to me with such a look of resentment? Can it be that you still harbor anger toward your master?" These words, once spoken, gave Sun Wukong quite a fright. "Master, that is not the case. This disciple has no such intentions. It is because Master hinted for me to come that I dared to seek you out at this hour. As for the resentment in my heart, it is not directed at you, Master, but at those fellow disciples who, after seeing me receive your punishment, began to mock, beat, and scold me, and because I truly cannot defeat them, Sun Wukong hurriedly lowered his head, not daring to speak further. Patriarch Subhuti performed a quick calculation and immediately understood the cause. "Nonsense. Who told you all to fight amongst yourselves? Starting tomorrow, everyone must diligently recite scriptures and cultivate the Tao. I shall dispatch your eldest senior brother to conduct a trial, and those who do not pass will serve as menial laborers for 3 years." Even though Sun Wukong knew well that this patriarch did not harbor entirely good intentions, hearing these words of fairness and righteousness could not help but warm his heart. "Master, I thank you." Patriarch Subhuti gave a slight nod. "Very well, let us return to the main matter. Today, I shall impart a cultivation technique to you." Having said this, Patriarch Subhuti pressed a finger to the monkey's brow, and the incredibly profound, great heavenly immortal art was imprinted directly into his mind. This technique was truly exquisite, and Patriarch Subhuti had even infused it with a portion of the 8-9 mysterious art, essentially making it a cultivation method oriented toward physical refinement. The nature of simian spirits in this world has never been one to remain still. This celestial brilliance technique is exceptionally suited for Sun Wukong to cultivate. If it were not for Sun Wukong, who had previously been exposed to foundational knowledge of cultivation through the myths of his world, he might have truly felt profound gratitude for the favor of Patriarch Subhuti's teachings. Unfortunately, he had already seen far greater treasures. Upon re-examining the celestial technique, Sun Wukong clearly realized that it relied on various immortal elixirs and spiritual fruits to rapidly reach the pinnacle of the Taiyi Golden Immortal Realm. However, from beginning to end, it had absolutely no connection to the laws of the universe. Yet the comprehension of these laws is the absolute prerequisite for advancing to the Daluo Golden Immortal Realm. Therefore, the absolute limit of the Yanai, Great Celestial Immortal Art, is the Taiyi Golden Immortal Realm. Looking at the Kan, Great Celestial Immortal Art, imparted by Patriarch Subhuti, Sun Wukong finally understood. The Buddhist sect only intended for him to be a blunt instrument. They had never truly intended to take him on as a disciple. Even if Sun Wukong possessed supreme genius, and even if he held vast merits, he was merely a chess piece to be exploited, a stepping stone meant to pave the way for the sect's true direct disciples. Contemplating this technique, Sun Wukong suddenly burst into tears. Patriarch Subhuti found this strange and could not help but ask, "Wukong, why are you crying?" Sun Wukong replied, "Master, never before in this world has anyone treated this disciple with such kindness. It is evident that for me to have previously demanded to leave the mountain was truly an insult to you, Master." These two fools are so easily moved by the bestowal of a single technique, thought the patriarch, to possess such a pure heart, and to know how to correct one's mistakes. Then, as a reward, I shall teach you a set of divine consolabilities. Sun Wukong immediately thought of the 36 transformations mentioned by the master of the diary. Since the diary valued this art so highly, it must be an extraordinary treasure. He could not help but look at Patriarch Subhuti with eyes filled with anticipation. The patriarch looked at the little monkey's gaze and could not help but smile. "I possess the 36 transformations of heavenly might, and I also possess the 72 transformations of earthly fiend. Which do you choose?" Sun Wukong's heart skipped a beat. He spoke loudly. "Having received the guidance of the patriarch, I fear that my current state of mind is not steady enough to master both. This 36 transformations of heavenly might is already excellent. Though the number is small, it is more than enough for my needs." Patriarch Subhuti stroked his beard and, smiling, said, "Since you have chosen the 72. Suddenly, the patriarch was stunned. "Having chosen the 36 heavenly transformations, you will not change your mind?" Sun Wukong replied firmly, "Master, I will not change it. I must still cultivate the great Tao Heavenly Immortal Manual. Where would I find the time to learn so many transformations? Is it not better to learn less, so as to avoid distraction and unnecessary trouble?" Hearing that this monkey wished to cultivate the great Tao Heavenly Immortal Manual, Patriarch Bodhi could not help but reveal a satisfied smile. "Very well. If you have decided to focus your efforts on one technique, that is a good thing. I shall impart the 36 heavenly transformations to you. Now, receive this." A stream of light once again struck Sun Wukong's forehead, imprinting the profound essence of the 36 heavenly transformations into his mind. Sun Wukong carefully sensed and meticulously memorized the knowledge. Before he knew it, the sky outside had already grown bright. Daring not to disturb the patriarch any further, Sun Wukong hurriedly bowed in gratitude for the transmission of the technique, then turned and departed. Upon returning to his room, the first thing Sun Wukong did was not to cultivate, but to open the diary. He wanted to see if there were any wondrous methods that could be of use to him, preferably something to help him break his seal. If he could continue to maintain his disguise as a mediocre disciple, it would be even more beneficial for his cultivation of the great Daddio Heavenly Immortal Manual. However, the diary contained no information regarding such matters. Instead, it contained new insights into the basic cultivation methods of the mythical world. Sun Wukong felt a hint of disappointment, but suddenly, his expression changed drastically. He saw lines of text on the diary that were incredibly eye-catching. By arranging the Zhuhao Tian star formation within the acupuncture points of the body, using starlight as energy, one can create an incomplete miniature world of starlight. I used my thoughts as a guide, and according to the requirements of the technique, I channeled the laws of this fragmented miniature world, imprinting them upon my physical body to achieve the mythical heavenly immortal Davio. Unexpectedly, a moment of negligence caused the newly constructed, fragmented miniature world to be drawn out of my physical body, partially merging with the heavenly Tao of the primordial world, at which point I immediately took control of a portion of the world's authority. I was ecstatic, thinking that through this situation I could come into close contact with the heavenly Tao, and surely I would be able to perceive even more powerful laws. As it turned out, it was all in vain. It had no effect whatsoever. But because the primordial heavenly Tao was nearby, all the demons, monsters, and gods fled as fast as they could. It is truly miraculous. In the future, I immediately connected with the primordial heavenly Tao, ensuring that the one who cast the spell would meet a death without a burial ground. Sun Wukong gazed at this book, stirred with intense emotion. So that is how it is. My old son has finally been saved. He did not even harbor a shred of suspicion, directly using his consciousness to force the small world within his body outward. At the moment the fragmented small world was revealed outside his body, Sun Wukong felt as if he had been doused by refreshing spirit spring water. His entire body felt cool and comfortable, and the golden runic seals cast by Patriarch Subhuti, those intricate patterns vanished in the blink of an eye, disappearing without a trace. Good! Sun Wukong cried out in joy, overcome with excitement as he felt his cultivation base being restored. Patriarch Subhuti, who was meditating with closed eyes, suddenly trembled with shock. To think that someone would dare to help Sun Wukong unravel the restriction. Let this old Taoist see exactly who is bold enough to defy the heavens, daring to oppose our Buddhist sect. Do they believe our Western teachings are too compassionate? Having spoken, he began to calculate, but the moment he succeeded, he suffered a backlash, vomiting a mouthful of saints' essential blood on the spot. Yet at this moment, Patriarch Subhuti had no mind to care for his own injured body. The three corpses of this Buddhist saint were filled with astonishment and terror. How could it be the heavenly Tao? Why would the heavenly Tao intervene in the affairs of Sun Wukong? Is the rise of our Western teachings not the fixed destiny ordained by the heavenly Tao? Then why is the protagonist of the journey to the West of such immense significance? How could he be left to be toyed with at our whim? It seems that this old Taoist's recent actions have been too flagrant, causing resentment from the heavenly Tao. It seems I must inform the true self. All matters concerning Sun Wukong can only be guided. They cannot be forced. A streak of light soared from Lingtai Fengkun Mountain, shooting straight into the chaos of the heavens beyond heaven, where Junti was meditating in the Buddhist realm when he was suddenly struck by the incoming light. Ji Yin sat upright on the cloud bed opposite him. Seeing that streak of light, he could not help but ask in wonder, "Subhuti, what business could you have with our junior brother? Could it be that you were sent to instruct that monkey?" Saint Junti frowned deeply. "The restrictions placed upon Sun Wukong have been dispelled." "What? Those restrictions were placed by both you and me, acting in unison, were they not? Could it be that Tai Shang and Yuanxi intend to renege on the debt incurred during the investiture of the gods?" Tai Ching Tianzun and Yuanxi Tianzun had invited the two of them to take action, joining forces to suppress the Master of Heaven, Tongtian Jiaozhu. At that time, the two Taoist Tianzuns had promised them great favors. The Western sect was to flourish for one kalpa, a commitment sworn by 4 saints representing the heavens and the earth, with the Western sect destined to prosper, and Saint Nukawa refusing to interfere, and the Master of Heaven locked away in Zixiao Palace. The 4 of them naturally became the representatives of the heavenly Tao, the mandate of the heavenly Tao itself. Thus, the prosperity of the Western sect for one kalpa was established. Returning to the matter at hand, Ji Yin and Junti had personally interfered with Sun Wukong, sealing the stone monkey's cultivation base long before he was even born, ensuring he would never escape their control. If not for this, how could a monkey, who had absorbed spiritual energy for 10,000 years, and who possessed the merit of mending the heavens, have not a single shred of magic power within his body? Now that the restrictions on the monkey had been wiped clean, it was no wonder Saint Ji Yin cast his suspicions upon Laozi and Yuanqi. Junti wore a bitter smile. "Senior brother, try to divine the truth yourself." Refusing to believe the impossible, Ji Yin secretly performed the calculations. Yet despite his exhaustive efforts and intricate plotting, all traces of the events surrounding Sun Wukong pointed directly toward the heavenly Tao. Ji Yin stared at Junti, his expression one of pure terror. Ji Yin stood up. "I do not believe the heavenly Tao has gained sentience. Let us go directly to Zixiao Palace to see what Tong Tian is plotting." "That is acceptable. Senior brother, you may go. I shall dispatch Maitreya to the Ren sect and the Chan sect to investigate. If those two intend to change their minds, the two of us must engage them and settle the score once and for all." Saint Junti released a saintly Dharma decree. In the earthly immortal realm at the western heavens Mount Ling, the venerable ones of the great Thundersound Temple were in a state of agitation. The heavenly Tao has once again intervened to assist that Lingming stone monkey. The saint has ordered Maitreya to spy on the Ren sect and the Chan sect to determine the situation. Maitreya Buddha pressed his palms together, bowed to the Tathagata Buddha, and immediately took his leave. Tathagata Buddha spoke, instructing him to let the future Buddha go as he pleased. Once that was done, he turned his gaze toward Guanyin and asked, "Where does the six-eared macaque currently reside?" Guanyin was struck with terror. "World-honored one, you must not. Sun Wukong bears the karmic merit of patching the heavens, and he is the designated protagonist of the Journey to the West calamity. His fate cannot be easily altered. If the world-honored one has other plans, I humbly suggest we wait until the monkey has embarked upon the pilgrimage for the scriptures before taking action. After all, the great movements of the heavenly Tao are immutable. Only minor events may be shifted." Tathagata Buddha let out a soft sigh, closed his eyes, and remained silent. Guanyin bowed once more to the world-honored one. "I have decided to make a journey to the heavenly court to ensure there are no oversights in their arrangements." Tathagata Buddha whispered a soft chant, "Namo Amitabha Buddha." "Noble one, you should personally keep watch over the six-eared macaque. As for the Jade Emperor in the heavenly court, sending one of his personal attendants will suffice." Guanyin hesitated for a moment, urging that Sun Wukong is one of the stones used to mend the heavens, and the karmic ties between him and Goddess Nuwa are profound. Even if the world-honored one does not favor him, one must still show proper respect to the goddess. He must be granted some measure of dignity. Tathagata Buddha finally closed his eyes completely to continue his meditation, ceasing all mention of the six-eared macaque. Very quickly, the entire earthly immortal realm and the chaos beyond the heavens began to tremble on account of Sun Wukong. Bodhi Patriarch, cultivating on Fangkun Mountain, could not help but sweep his divine sense towards Sun Wukong after sending the message to his true self. He wished to observe closely what exactly had allowed Sun Wukong to obtain the assistance of the heavenly Tao. As his divine sense brushed past, he was caught in the wake of the Hongmeng heavenly Tao's power, suffering the brunt of a strike from the heavens that had not yet dissipated. Fortunately, as a saint of the heavenly Tao, one of the three incarnations of the saint, the blow was not fatal. Yet, it was enough to make Bodhi Patriarch behave himself. At this moment, Sun Wukong was falling into a dire crisis. Having borrowed the power of the heavenly Tao to break the seal, he naturally had to retract his inner world. However, he found he could not pull it back. His inner world was structured using the monkey's physical body. If this were seized by the Hongmeng heavenly Tao, he would be finished. Sun Wukong immediately channeled every ounce of spiritual power in his body, using his life's strength to pull it back. Fortunately, the inner world and the monkey were one existence, allowing him to buy a little more time, but at most, within a single day, the inner world the monkey had constructed would fall into the hands of the heavenly Tao. Sun Wukong, he who tied the bell must untie it. Casting that world out from his body was a masterstroke by the diary's owner. Therefore, under the current circumstances, only this supreme powerhouse could offer him a helping hand. Liu Heitong truly had not foreseen this. He did not encounter the same trials as Sun Wukong, for in essence, they were not the same. He is a human of the post-heaven era, a creature of flesh and blood, while Sun Wukong is a stone born from the heavens, shaped into form. As for the claim that the heavenly Tao of the primordial realm took an entire day to seize a small world from a living being, that is because the heavenly Tao considered it a matter of its own prestige, and thus employed far more gentle and cautious methods. After all, the world was already broken. What if the use of excessive force caused it to shatter entirely? Liu Heitong's fractured small world could be retrieved through the use of great magical power, and the reason Sun Wukong could not accomplish this was because he was impatient and burning with anxiety. While Liu Heitong was still sipping his enlightenment tea, he was recording his insights and realizations as he reached enlightenment, fearing that if time passed, he would forget them. As his brush hit the page, the mythical diary instantly illuminated, its azure radiance brighter than it had ever been before. Having detected that the diary's owner had recorded an entry, it bestowed the reward, the GZMI, From the shrouding the heavens realm, in the blink of an eye, the diary emitted a beam of azure light, etching the secret technique directly into his mind. Heavens above, it was truly the GZMI, a legendary treasure from shrouding the heavens, capable of increasing one's combat power tenfold. Yet, why was it only a single divine ability? This did not seem commensurate with the number of words I have recorded in the diary. Liu Heitong pondered for half a day before he finally understood. Overjoyed, he picked up his brush to record the GZMI in its entirety, and even sketched the image of Zhuifeng Peak, which he had witnessed earlier. Afterward, Liu Haitong began his cultivation once more. He still remembered that he had lent Sun Wukong a hand, and when those individuals returned to settle the score, he would inevitably have to clash with them to determine who was superior. On the surface, he was only at the heaven immortal stage, yet just a few hours later, he had already ascended to the golden immortal realm. Even though Patriarch Subhuti usually adopted a laissez-faire attitude toward his disciples, he would still reach out to investigate for the sake of Sun Wukong's safety. This GZMI had arrived at the most opportune moment. Sun Wukong was still struggling desperately for his life until Liu Heitong uploaded the GZMI divine ability, and even depicted the form of Zhuifeng Peak, which provided immense assistance to Sun Wukong. If a divine ability could manifest as a mountain, then could this small world of his also be transformed? Instantly, he began to refine the dilapidated inner world within him, transforming it into a towering mountain peak of a grotto heaven, upon which various laws swirled and flickered, standing tall directly within the three-star cave grotto of Bodhi Patriarch. The mountain peak it transformed into was not large. Placed within the three-star cave, it was no bigger than a common boulder. Had it not been for the sheer density of laws radiating from it, no one would have spared it a second glance. In the primordial era, the famous grotto heavens alone numbered 36 major and 72 minor realms. The grotto heaven the monkey had manifested was both small and inferior, so unremarkable that the heavenly Tao had simply ceased its interference and withdrawn. Sun Wukong waited until the presence of the heavenly Tao had completely faded, before cautiously retracting the mountain peak back into his body. He had finally survived. Although his inner world had successfully evolved from his shattered minor world into a grotto heaven, the laws present still did not interfere with his cultivation into a mythological celestial immortal. Today had been truly perilous. If forced to repeat it, Sun Wukong could not guarantee he would survive a second time. Bodhi Patriarch held the quasi-saint Dharma he had just retrieved, momentarily dazed, realizing he could only exert influence over the monkey and could not directly intervene against him. To what extent, then, must this old Taoist exert his influence? After careful deliberation, he summoned the attendant by his side. "Shakwa attendant, go find Sun Wukong. He has only just entered the sect, and I know not what state he has cultivated the technique into. Go and supervise his progress." The attendant was overjoyed, and immediately accepted the command. "As you wish, Patriarch." The next day, just as Sun Wukong opened his bleary, sleepy eyes, he found himself blocked at the door by Bodhi Patriarch's attendant. "Congratulations, Senior Brother Wukong. You are favored by the Patriarch. To have been granted a cultivation technique in such a short time is an honor far exceeding that of your fellow disciples. Just now, the Patriarch mentioned you again, saying that since you are a new disciple, he has sent me to urge you to cultivate diligently. Senior brother, you must hasten your cultivation of the Tao. Do not waste any more time." Having said this, the Shakwai attendant sat cross-legged opposite Sun Wukong. Sun Wukong was stunned. Bodhi Patriarch had actually sent someone to monitor his practice of the great grade celestial immortal art. Could he not act with a shred of human decency? "This isn't supervision. This is a demand for my life. Junior brother, do you have any idea who your senior brother is? Even if the Patriarch favors me, I, your elder, must still follow the rules. You should know that disciples who arrive at the Three Stars Cave must start by carrying water and chopping wood." Shakwei Tongzi waved his hand. "What talk of chopping wood and carrying water is this? That is not for this junior brother to manage. I only follow the Patriarch's decree, to monitor you as you pursue the Dao." Having said that, he stared intently at Sun Wukong, waiting for him to begin his cultivation. Sun Wukong dared not gamble with the discernment of an attendant serving under such a master of great supernatural powers. He had no choice but to begrudgingly begin cultivating the great accomplishment, Heaven Immortal Art. To his astonishment, he discovered that the efficiency of the great accomplishment Heaven Immortal Art in elevating his cultivation level was truly peerless. In the span of a single day, Sun Wukong stabilized his precarious golden immortal fruit of Dao. His heart was filled with indescribable emotions. Shakwei Tongzi, watching from the side, was filled with immense envy. He sighed in complete admiration. "Senior brother, your innate talent is truly exceptional. I have never seen a living being who finds elevating their cultivation as easy as eating and drinking. It is no wonder the Patriarch sent me here to supervise you. The hour grows late, and I must return to report to the patriarch. Farewell." Sha Kwa bowed respectfully to Sun Wukong before turning to leave. Once the monitor had departed, Sun Wukong's monkey face instantly darkened. What was to be done now? These wretched curs, one after another, they stare at me relentlessly. What kind of chess piece are they trying to turn me into? No, I cannot remain in this place any longer. How can I manage to descend the mountain? He hurriedly opened his copy of the mythological diary. He found a page which read, "No wonder the monkey, once he masters the Tao, will boast before these very people. It is precisely this behavior that will give Patriarch Subhuti the pretext to banish him from the sect directly. I have it. This is it." At that moment, the copy of the mythological diary flickered, and new lines of text appeared upon it. Word has it that the monkey was struck 3 times on the head by the master at the foot of the mountain. The story has already spread throughout the 3 Stars Cave. Could it be that the journey to the west tribulations are set to begin early? If not, why would Patriarch Subhuti transmit the Dharma so prematurely? Is that monkey about to transform into a great tree, then into an eagle, and after learning the somersault cloud, be expelled from the sect? Trisk. Just thinking about the monkey returning home only to have his soul reaped by the underworld and falling into the machinations of the Buddhist sect, I cannot help but feel a twinge of pity for him. Tell me, why on earth would he go and bearing so much karma upon himself, and with only a meager amount of merit for mending the heavens to his name? How much would he have to expend to stop the Buddhist figures from preventing the monkey's continued rebellion? Moreover, they stand to gain so much from it. If I were in his shoes, I would remain in Fengkun Mountain and seek refuge, refusing to descend the mountain at any cost. Naturally, in the primordial world, the large prey upon the small. If the monkey's cultivation level does not improve, he will inevitably fall into their traps. Meanwhile, Liu Heitong finished writing in his diary, gazing at the journal with immense anticipation, awaiting the arrival of his rewards. He suddenly saw the diary flicker, and before him appeared dozens of fruits. He realized the diary's owner had recorded the first entry, granting him the reward. The Zaishan supernatural ability, Xing Zmi, and 50 primordial innate spiritual fruits, the Huangzong Li. Looking at the rewards before him, Liu Haitong embraced the diary and kissed it directly. Haha, this is truly magnificent. Huangzong Li. Just eating 1 fruit makes one a Daluo golden immortal. What path do I even need to cultivate anymore? It is enough to simply eat them and be done with it. Excited, Liu Haitong picked up one of the fruits and shoved it into his mouth. The moment the Huangzong Li entered his mouth, it transformed into boundless mana, within which a fragment of ordinary wood elemental law resided. Liu Haitong's expression changed. If one advances to the Daluo stage using ordinary wood elemental laws, what combat prowess could they possibly possess? Furthermore, he cultivates the law of time, not the wood elemental laws belonging to the 5 elements. With no other choice, Liu Haitong could only look dejected, using the dilapidated small world within his body to absorb the laws from the Huangzong Li fruit. It was not until he had fully integrated these laws that he let out a long sigh of relief. At this moment, Liu Haitong's internal world expanded significantly, and the laws of his small world became even more complete. So much so that it influenced the law of time imprinted upon his being. Overjoyed, Liu Haitong circulated his mana, and he found himself effortlessly pushing his cultivation to the late stage of Taiyi Golden Immortal. He was truly only 1 step away from reaching the mythical Daluo Golden Immortal realm of the primordial world. Returning to Sun Wukong, the monkey saw his own future directly through the copy of the mythical diary, and was struck by immense shock. As it turns out, the traps he faced while on Fangkun Mountain were considered mild. Far more sinister schemes awaited him outside. Sun Wukong shook his head in silence. He could not descend the mountain. Only by utilizing his time on this mountain to increase his cultivation would he be able to seize control of his own destiny in the future. Otherwise, there would be no way to escape the machinations of the powerful. Thinking of this, he realized that to stay on the mountain, he must behave himself. He must play the part of the obedient grandson. And thus, showing off was out of the question. It would be best not to even step outside the main gate. Once my cultivation level is sufficiently profound, I shall drag every single one of those who dared to turn their blades against me and crush them to death, right here in Fengkun Mountain. Monkey, I have pressing matters today. Go help me gather firewood and ensure it is finished by nightfall. Another disciple witnessed this scene and could not help but speak up. Monkey, help me copy 10 pages of the Huangting Sutra. I have no time to write today. Monkey, you are going to the back mountain to gather firewood. While you are at it, carry some water back for me as well. I still have 7 large jars that need filling. Sun Wukong wore a look of hesitation. That is acceptable, but the completion time may be delayed slightly. I have already committed to gathering firewood and copying scriptures for others. The fellow disciple brushed it off, completely unconcerned. It does not matter. As long as you finish the work before daybreak, that is fine by me. I am not picky. The monkey immediately broke into a smile. That is good, that is good. As long as I do not delay the tasks of my martial brothers, it is absolutely no problem for me. Monkey, Help me deliver a message to the junior disciple at the back mountain. It would be best if you left right now. Sun Wukong hurriedly replied. Understood. I am leaving this instant. Leaving right now. He appeared exactly like an honest man devoid of temper, constantly ordered around and exploited by everyone. As time passed, all of the disciples at Fengkun Mountain began to bully the monkey. Sun Wukong was busy day after day like a diligent bee, and his progress in cultivation slowed significantly. The boy Sa Kwa, who had been sent to keep a close watch on Sun Wukong's training, saw all of this. And with dissatisfaction in his heart, he remarked, Master, it is exactly as you see. Those people bully Sun Wukong day after day. Sun Wukong is likely new here and dares not to resist. I find their actions quite excessive. Master, please look into this matter. This revelation left the patriarch deeply astonished. Oh? Wait a moment. Let me observe. Having said this, he swept his divine sense across the area and saw the monkey performing tasks even more exaggerated than what the boy had described. The Lingming stone monkey is one of the 4 great primordial monkeys, each of them lawless and arrogant. Yet the monkey within his own cave dwelling was so submissive that he allowed himself to be bullied by mortals. Subhuti Patriarch's mouth hung open in shock. Sun Wukong is the protagonist of the journey to the west, a catastrophe that their Western sect spent countless efforts to orchestrate. If the monkey is like this, can he truly follow the script to cause havoc in the underworld and later the heavenly palace? They bestowed upon him the title of Protector of the Horses, yet this monkey is so inept that he might well remain in that position until he dies of old age. Sun Wukong's temperament is improper, and this could be more serious than anything else. Patriarch Subhuti dared not delay any further. After observing the monkey carefully for several days, he made an immediate decision to transmit a message directly to his true form, the Saint Junti. Based on my observations, the temperament of this spirit stone monkey is deeply problematic. His nature is weak and submissive, making him easy to bully. Even with the cultivation of a golden immortal, he does not dare to resist when even mortals mistreat him. This is a vast departure from the Ghana, demon king of the world we had envisioned. I have already hinted to my disciples to step in and support him, but it has yielded almost no results. I ask that the true form provide guidance as soon as possible. Saint Junti received the message sent by his avatar, and for a moment, he felt a headache. He relayed this news to Duo Bao Tathagata, and then turned to ask his senior brother beside him, Ji Yin, senior brother, do you think we chose the wrong monkey? Or could it be that when goddess Nuo was using the stones to mend the heavens, she played a trick? Otherwise, as a heaven-born divine demon, one of the 4 great primordial monkeys, the chaos demon ape, he should not possess a temperament like this. The sorrowful expression on Saint Ji Yin's face deepened even further. Under normal circumstances, Saint Numawa should not behave this way. The rise of our Buddhist sect does no harm to her human race. Why would she intervene to obstruct us? Junti replied that we did not offer her any benefits. Ji Yin's melancholy face darkened. Does the conversion of Zen Master Wu Chao not count? Zen Master Wu Chao is the 10th son of Emperor Jun, the little golden crow that Numahawa has always protected and shielded, Saint Junti remarked. Perhaps that was simply too little. After a long pause, the Buddhist saint declared, it is merely a discrepancy in temperament, not something that cannot be altered. Tell Subhuti and Duo Bao Guanyin to handle this. I do not believe that in 500 years. Junti pondered that there was still sufficient time. He would simply press them a bit harder. Furthermore, senior brother, I intend to dispatch the Liuli disciple to the Wa Huang Palace for a visit. At the Great Layan Temple, on the western Spirit Mountain, Tathagata, having only just finished reorganizing and auditing the arrangements of various factions, immediately received a decree from the 2 saints of the Buddhist sect. He stared at the message in his hands for a long time. Guanyin, it is said that the 4 great monkeys of the world are all lawless and untamable entities. Why is it that the Lingming stone monkey at the abode of Subhuti Patriarch is an exception? Could it be that he is merely feigning innocence before our eyes? Guanyin replied hesitantly. That Lingming stone monkey has only recently gained sentience. He knows nothing because he has yet to experience the ways of the world. Once I arrange for some individuals to stay by his side, to guide him by example, I suspect that the monkey will soon learn how to sow chaos. Abundant treasure Tathagata pondered for a moment, preparing for both possibilities. If that monkey cannot be taught, then take the lives of the monkeys and the Monkey King on Huaguo Mountain to stoke the malice within him. Furthermore, keep the 6-eared macaque prepared. If all else fails, we shall force him to act during the initial stages. Once everything is on the intended path, we shall replace him immediately. Guanyin Bodhisattva replied, the world-honored one speaks with wisdom. I shall attend to this at once. Sun Wukong, at Fengkun Mountain, had never imagined that his tactical act of feigning honesty would immediately trigger such a malicious scheme from the Buddhist sect. On this day, Liu Haitong finally stepped out of his cultivation cave. He had been cultivating in his small dwelling for a long time, yet he had not seen any of his troublemaking peers come to seek him out. In this world, the most unsettling thing is the shoe that never falls. Liu Haitong felt the same. Because his mind was not at peace, his cultivation efficiency could not improve. While feeling vexed, he stepped outside, only to witness a truly bizarre scene. A common mortal servant was bold enough to approach a monkey at the Golden Immortal Realm, pointing fingers and barking orders at Sun Wukong. "Tonight we want to feast on 7 scented venison. Go through the back gate and hunt one for us. And another thing, my brother said he does not want an old stag. The venison must be tender and thin. If you bring back an old, tough stag, you monkey had better prepare for death." Sun Wukong turned around with a fawning, apologetic smile. Yes, this old grandson is going at once. Going right now, monkey brother. I want to eat the spirit peaches from the back mountain. Go and pluck some for me immediately. The monkey responded tirelessly and incessantly. At once! I am going now! And with that, the monkey rode a cloud and departed. Liu Haitong covered his face in disbelief, unable to bear watching any longer. That menial laborer was merely a mortal, and the one speaking to him was only a heaven immortal. Yet Sun Wukong was a golden immortal. The outcome was absurd. A golden immortal was being ordered around like a mere servant. Sun Wukong, do you even realize what you are doing? You are the great sage equal to heaven, who once defied the cosmos, brought chaos to the heavenly court, and turned the underworld into a complete disaster. Yet here at Fengkun Mountain you are so timid and easily bullied. Have I truly arrived in a standard version of the journey to the west? Frustrated, Liu Haitong returned to his cave dwelling, picked up his brush, and began writing in his diary. The change in this monkey is simply too drastic. I had assumed that, after receiving the teachings of Patriarch Subhuti, he would grow arrogant and overbearing. Unexpectedly, Sun Wukong has become so incredibly docile. This makes me wonder, what exactly happened to this monkey at Fengkun Mountain? It does not seem right that he would harbor such heavy resentment only after descending from the mountain. After all, shortly after the monkey left the mountain, the underworld came to claim his soul. His life was on the line. It would be unnatural for him not to resist, wouldn't it? But if the personality I witnessed is his true nature, will he still dare to strike the life and death ledger and wreak havoc in the underworld in the future? If the monkey only knows how to act with propriety and cry for justice, then the Buddhist sect is in for a miserable fate. Their entire objective was to use the monkey to stir up chaos in the underworld, to rewrite the life and death ledger, and to force Haotu Niangyang into making a mistake, all for the sake of purging the underworld of Haotu and the Wu clan. Then again, the primordial heavenly Tao is truly not a benevolent force. Does it not rely on its early inception, and because of that, suppress the earthly Tao and human Tao, despite them being its equals? First, it used the Dragon Han tribulation to suppress the many great masters emerging from the human Tao. Then, it used the Lich tribulation to once again purge the powerful beings of the human Tao. It then proceeded to crush the Wu clan, who carried the bloodline of Pangu. Finally, it replaced the original human Tao with the post-celestial beings known as the human race. Once the human Tao was whittled down to a point of extreme weakness, the heavenly Tao turned its sights toward the dying earthly Tao. If, after the journey to the West tribulation, the Taoist sect is not manifest and Hutu disappears, it will likely be yet another victory for the heavenly Tao. The heavenly Tao and Hongjun are truly repulsive. If I were Hutu Niangyang, I would immediately overhaul the underworld, and at the very moment I reclaimed my true form, I would turn and swear an oath to the great Tao to rebuild the underworld for all the heavens and myriad realms. By that time, although this underworld would be connected to the primordial era, it would independently fall under the jurisdiction of the great Tao. In the event that the earthly Tao does not manifest, the great Tao governs the underworld. Once the earthly Tao emerges, it shall assume control. The heavenly Tao would have absolutely no way to interfere. By then, the underworld would have the myriad heavens and worlds to nourish its foundation. Would it not be magnificent for Hutu to directly attain the status of an earthly Tao saint? Liu Haitong was momentarily exhilarated, writing several pages in his diary in succession. Discovering that the owner of the diary had completed another entry, he received rewards from the mythical world, the idol-suppressing prison art, and the mythical world's 12 divine fiends grand formation. Liu Haitong stared at the technique and the formation. Could it be that I wrote too much about the monkey in the underworld, and thus the diary granted me these two related techniques and formations? Are these things truly useful to me? Once Liu Haitong finished reading the descriptions of the technique and the formation, he was thoroughly shaken. Heavens above! The idol-suppressing prison art from the mythical world can actually cultivate the law of strength. Had I known this earlier, why would I have chosen anything else? Wouldn't it have been far better to use this directly? And then there is this divine fiends grand formation. I had always assumed the ancestral witches used their own physical bodies to set up the formation. It turns out that they first refine formation flags, then collect a sliver of soul essences, using conceptual attributes, and finally used the blood essence of the ancestral witches to form the array, manifesting a projection of Pangu rather than his true form. I understand now. The mythical world is a great eternal world. Thinking about it, Pangu could even be resurrected there. So the ancestral witches of the mythical world were naturally required to be modified. Haha. Liu Heitong's laughter was devoid of any sincerity. Yet, he remained as he had always been, picking up his pen to record everything worth writing into his diary. He discovered that the owner of the diary had completed another entry, receiving rewards. 109-year purple-veined flat peaches, and 1. Liu Heitong curled his lip. To be fair, he had not even finished consuming the Huangzhong Li fruit in his possession. Even if he had devoured the entirety of the fruit, such items would hardly be welcomed by him. For these types of spirit fruits only serve to increase one's magic power. They contain no laws, and are of absolutely no use to him. Yet, faced with such a rare spirit fruit, he dismissed it with nothing more than the word trash. Elsewhere, the monkey had obtained yet another cultivation manual from the diary, and it was a technique that held a legendary status within the mythical world. He was so overjoyed that he performed several somersaults in succession. If it were not for the fact that the starting point for cultivating the mythical world's prison-suppressing divine technique requires one to be a great Luo golden immortal of the primordial realm, the monkey might have begun practicing it immediately. Because of this, the monkey applied himself even more rigorously to the basic cultivation techniques of the mythical world. In the eyes of Patriarch Subhuti, Sun Wukong's aptitude was heaven-defying. His cultivation base improved at a rate visible to the naked eye. This only served to make the patriarch increasingly anxious. His cultivation level was soaring at a breakneck speed. Sun Wukong remained hidden within Fangkun Mountain, living in complete contentment. He was happy, but Patriarch Subhuti watched him with mounting agitation and alarm. It was evident that his own great accomplishment, heaven immortal art, had nothing to do with the laws. Yet Sun Wukong, through a few simple movements, seemed to subtly touch upon the power of laws and the speed of the laws themselves. This was something Patriarch Subhuti could not comprehend, forcing him to conclude it must be an innate characteristic of the Lingming stone monkey. The Lingming stone monkey is adept at transformations, understands the timing of heaven and the advantages of the earth, and can shift the stars and move the moon. However, for the monkey to remain holed up in the Three Stars Cave, simply increasing his cultivation without tempering his hostility, that would absolutely not do. After careful consideration, Patriarch Subhuti summoned his attendant, Sa Kuai. What has Sun Wukong been doing during his cultivation lately? Attendant Sa Kuai replied with a respectful air. Disciple observes that monkey every day, helping this person and assisting that one, or perhaps he is simply practicing inside his own cave abode. As for the extent of his cultivation, I truly cannot say. You mean to say that Wukong understands the principle of mutual assistance? The patriarch asked. What kind of help has he been providing to his fellow disciples? Attendant Sa Kuai hesitated for a moment before finally speaking. That, the monkey. He has been helping many of his senior and junior brothers by gathering firewood and fetching water. Gathering firewood and fetching water. This revelation immediately infuriated Patriarch Subhuti. Very well, you monkey. I truly do not know what to call you anymore. Did you not tell him that fetching water and chopping wood are the methods I, this old Taoist, use to sharpen the temperament of my disciples? Forget it. The world is vast and filled with all kinds of men. While he possesses the heart to assist his fellow disciples, he lacks an understanding of our sect's rules and principles. You must be careful to explain the regulations of our Fangkun Mountain to him. Furthermore, should he wish to aid his fellow disciples, tell him to personally demonstrate the true techniques for them to observe and engage in discourse with them regarding the path, for this is the superior method of instruction. The attendant, Sa Kuai, hurriedly nodded in compliance, stating, This disciple shall go at once to notify that ignorant monkey. Patriarch Subhuti grunted in acknowledgement and strictly warned the foolish disciples under his tutelage that if any dared to discard the tasks meant to temper their hearts and minds, leading to an unstable Taoist heart and a cultivation base that struggles to advance even a single step, he would personally cast them out of the sect. The attendant, Sa Kuai, felt his legs go weak with terror, repeatedly saying, I shall go notify them immediately, at once. As the attendant serving by the patriarch's side, Sa Kuai was essentially the eyes and ears of a sage. With the patriarch now explicitly mentioning the tasks of temperament training, Sa Kuai harbored a guilty conscience, for he had helped disciples within the sect conceal their laziness no fewer than 100 times. Now that the matter had been deliberately brought to light, he was naturally struck with profound dread. As he departed from the patriarch's presence, he secretly harbored resentment towards Sun Wukong. Had it not been for that monkey drawing the patriarch's attention, how could his own past transgressions have been so easily exposed? Consumed by a belly full of rage, Sa Kuai hurried to inform the fellow disciples of Fangkun Mountain, conveying the patriarch's stern warning and declaring to them bluntly that anyone caught being lazy or deceitful would be expelled from the sect by the patriarch. Instantly, a chorus of wailing and lamentation broke out. Some suddenly startled, pointed at those who habitually commanded Sun Wukong to perform their labor, loudly cursing, "It is all because of you people. If you had not been so indolent, forcing Sun Wukong to shoulder your tasks day after day, how could the patriarch have fixed his gaze upon this matter? You may resent us, but what good will your resentment do?" From this incident, have you not realized that the patriarch holds that demonic monkey in high regard? If you do not believe it, ask the attendant Sa Kwa if that monkey has not already received the patriarch's personal favor. For instance, regarding divine abilities and Taoist techniques, what has he not learned directly from the patriarch? He showed no concern for the way we bullied him, and even seemed to find some twisted joy in it. The crowd could not help but turn in unison to look at Sa Si U Dong Tu, who was relaying the message. Sa Si U Dong Tu was momentarily taken aback, then proceeded to explain what the Grandmaster had instructed him to do. A few days ago, the Grandmaster did indeed order my junior brother to keep a daily watch on that monkey's cultivation. However, with my limited knowledge, I could not discern exactly what technique that monkey was practicing. Yet this monkey junior brother of ours absorbs spiritual energy at a truly terrifying rate. Just then, someone shouted out, "Let us go find that demonic ape. A mere creature of the beast realm has actually received the favor of the Grandmaster, and he dares to act fawning and subservient, trying to make the Grandmaster look down upon us. What a fine demonic ape. He truly harbors the heart of a wolf and the lungs of a cur." Indeed, fourth senior brother is right. Let us go confront that monkey. Is he intentionally plotting to ruin our reputation before the Grandmaster? Driven by the calculated incitement of a few small-minded individuals and San Si Yu Dong Tu, the crowd set off to cause trouble for Sun Wukong. At that moment, Sun Wukong was sitting within his cave dwelling, meticulously mastering the divine technique, the Xing Zi Ma. Suddenly, the aura radiating from his body surged, his spiritual power escalated, and his mastery over the laws of speed increased by more than half in a short span of time. Sun Wukong let out a cry of joy, the laws of speed causing him to flicker in and out of existence where he stood, while above his head, spiritual energy manifested into form. Dragons and tigers rose high, a phoenix sang beyond the 9 heavens, and a golden dragon circled overhead. Within Sangsing Cave, Subhuti stepped out from his chambers, staring intently toward Sun Wukong's location, his expression one of profound shock. It has been such a short time, yet that monkey has already ascended to the Taiyi Golden Immortal Realm? How is this possible? My Deipin Tian Xianju, although specifically designed for Sun Wukong to practice, should not logically allow him to attain the Taiyi Golden Immortal Realm with such terrifying speed. More importantly, as the monkey reached the Taiyi Golden Immortal Realm, auspicious beasts manifested above his head, signaling that his true potential. This is clearly detrimental to the grand design of our Buddhist sect. This cannot continue. We must drive this monkey off the mountain. Patriarch Subhuti knit his brows. Just as he was contemplating a pretext to send the monkey away, he suddenly smiled. On the other side, a group of disciples arrived, seething with killing intent, before the entrance of Sun Wukong's cave dwelling. One of them shouted loudly on the spot, "You demonic ape! Get out here immediately and face your death." Sun Wukong, come out! Did you slander us before the patriarch, causing him to target us? Wait, look at the 5-colored clouds above his cave dwelling. Could it be that he is in the midst of a breakthrough? The crowd of Fengkun Mountain disciples instantly fell silent. Sha Kui Tongzi felt jealousy take root in his heart. The underlying bitterness became increasingly apparent. He asked, "Junior brother, it is truly unexpected that you have achieved a breakthrough only days after entering the sect. Congratulations, truly. I shall certainly go to the patriarch shortly to report this auspicious news. I wonder what cultivation technique you practice that allows for such rapid advancement." "Ah, that is right. A few days ago the patriarch summoned me to urge your progress." Could it be that he imparted a technique to you then, providing the catalyst for this breakthrough? This statement was not entirely false. Sun Wukong pondered it for a moment. He felt that attributing his breakthrough to the technique bestowed by the patriarch seemed more logical and grounded. Senior brother Sha Kui is correct. A few days ago the patriarch bestowed upon me the great immortal heaven immortal art. This technique allows for cultivation at a truly remarkable speed. It is an exceptional manual, rarely found in this world. Such a glib-tongued, deceitful ape, one muttered, tricking the patriarch into bestowing his teachings. Which of us has not spent over a decade chopping wood and hauling water before receiving instruction? You have only just entered the sect, yet you have already cajoled the patriarch into teaching you. Demonic ape. Forfeit your life. Suddenly, one in the crowd, filled with burning rage, struck a direct blow toward Sun Wukong's head. This individual possessed only the cultivation of a heavenly immortal. Sun Wukong, however, had already reached the Taiyi Golden Immortal Realm. He did not even consider dodging. He stood motionless, allowing the man to land his blow. The opponent's fist struck the monkey's head. A flash of azure light flickered, and the monkey remained entirely unscathed. Conversely, the attacker was repelled by the rebound, sent flying 10,000 miles away. Fortunately, the monkey had no intention of causing him mortal harm. In truth, it had not fully restrained the overflow of its laws of speed. Otherwise, its opponent would have already suffered grievous injuries from the backlash of such power. The monkey showed restraint, but the onlookers were oblivious to the true situation. They only saw the demon ape and thought, "It doesn't seem that strong, does it?" Did they not see that even when the weakest among them struck, the creature could do nothing in return? This monkey is actually capable of being beaten. With a shout, the crowd of heaven immortals and true immortals, who had been strictly commanded by their patriarch and were fed up with being forced to haul water and chop wood daily, rushed forward in unison to attack the monkey. Shakwei Tongzi, watching this scene from the sideline, smiled in complete satisfaction. Not only did he refrain from reporting the disturbance to his peers, but he secretly produced a Xiantian spirit treasure, the golden bamboo lamp. While the monkey was preoccupied, dealing with a barrage of techniques, he flicked the lamp, disguising the Xiantian divine fire as a common fire attribute technique, and directed it toward the monkey. This was the monkey's first time clashing with the disciples of the Eastern Sect. It had been handling these people with effortless ease, because these cultivators could not break through its defenses. And because it wished to remain in hiding, it had no choice but to put on a performance, pretending to be battered and miserable. Yet, due to this carelessness, the flames licked directly at its throat. Sun Wukong realized too late that this fire was perilous, but it was already too late. Its golden, lustrous fur ignited in an instant, and a patch the size of a finger was scorched away, causing Sun Wukong's expression to darken significantly. "You are truly courting death." The Lingming Stone Monkey is, after all, the Lingming Stone Monkey, even though it reminded itself every moment that it must remain patient and inconspicuous. Once its fur had been scorched away, the monkey finally erupted in fury. It had not even struck a blow yet. It merely allowed its aura of law to ripple across its body. This crowd of cultivators could not withstand even that. Before the monkey had unleashed any real force, its enemies had already collapsed in a heap, howling in agony. Shakwei Tongzi never imagined that events would unfold in such a manner, and before he could even retract the golden bamboo lamp in his hand, he stood frozen in place, utterly stupefied. You actually dare to unleash such malice upon your fellow disciples?" Sun Wukong's eyes burned crimson, and the ripples of law fluctuating around his body grew increasingly terrifying. He glared at the fire lantern held by the Cao Siyu disciple, shouting in a wild, furious rage, "It was you who ambushed me." Upon witnessing such a sight, the Cao Siyu disciple was so terrified that he turned and fled. As he ran, he shrieked miserably, "Grandmaster, save me! The demon monkey just entered the sect and already wants to kill people." Sun Wukong was so infuriated he nearly keeled over. When had he ever wanted to kill anyone? It was clearly this group of people who were courting death, and that Cao Siyu disciple, he was clearly the one who tried to set him ablaze. Sun Wukong merely confronted him. So how did it turn into an attempted murder? Just as Sun Wukong suppressed the raging fire within his heart, intending to explain himself, an immense pressure descended from the heavens, hanging in the air like a scorching sun. A divine being descended, and everyone was pressed down, unable to breathe. The monkey suffered the worst of it, forced directly to the ground, unable to rise. The Cao Siyu disciple, who had fled into the distance, was pulled back, as if a film were being played in reverse. Grandmaster Subhuti arrived, stepping on auspicious clouds, his entire being radiating a sense of mercy as he appeared before the crowd. "Cao Siyu disciple, what has happened here? Why were you fleeing?" The moment the Cao Siyu disciple saw Grandmaster Subhuti, he began to wail loudly. "Master, that demon monkey received your teachings, and now that its cultivation has increased, it has begun to slaughter us. Look at the brothers on the ground. It was all its doing. It terrified me to death." In an instant, all my fellow disciples were gravely injured and fell. "Master, that demon monkey is truly a beast of no substance." These words made the monkey jump with rage. Yet everyone else, the disciples of Feng Kun Mountain, all nodded in agreement. "Grandmaster, the monkey is truly in the wrong. We only discovered that this junior brother had achieved a breakthrough, so we came to challenge him to a spar. Who would have thought this beast would possess such untamable, wild nature? Grandmaster, from beginning to end, this demon monkey never once considered us his fellow disciples. He is intentionally trying to ruin our reputation in front of you, Grandmaster. Grandmaster, this creature has such a vile heart. Why should we not banish him from the mountain?" Watching his fellow disciples weave these malicious lies and incite the Grandmaster to expel him from the sect, Sun Wukong was truly panicked. Suddenly, he heard a loud, "Indeed,